Well, a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you might be in the world. Welcome to the channel or welcome back. The first thing I have to say is, look, I really apologise for the delay in uploading this video. It's been delayed for a number of reasons, which I will talk about shortly. But one of the issues actually was with my microphone and technology. It wasn't that the microphone stopped working, it was simply that, how embarrassing. Turns out I'd plugged it in the wrong way or whatever. So anyway, the microphone wasn't working. Suffice to say, this video is now 10 days late, and the first time I discovered that the video hadn't worked was when I thought I had recorded the entire video for uploading, and of course there was no sound to it. Yep, whatever. Anyway, moving on. If you're new to the channel, I just want to let you know that all of my videos, I put timing stamps in the description, and this is for ease of access so that you can go to the areas that you want to know about. Generally speaking, the yarning is about updating on what's happening with the channel, what's happening with me, perhaps some observations that I've made throughout the week that might be something that resonates with you, the channel visitor, I'll call it, my journey mates or whatever. But anyway, where we're going today is I've got a bit of an announcement to make, and I will go into that shortly. I will continue, because this video is 10 days late, I will actually go back to the original transcript and discuss some of the things that I observed. Hopefully the video won't be too long, but there's a lot of things happening at the moment that I need to share with you, because you will have observed, if you're a returning visitor, you will have observed that I actually haven't been loading content over the last couple of, I would say last fortnight, except for the stuff that was already scheduled to go, which is the quotes, okay? I generally record when I'm on track. I do the content basically the same week that I load it, because I haven't been able to get ahead for a while. But anyway, let's go into the first announcement to share with you as an explanation as to the delays here. And that is that I've been struggling with some health issues. If you're a returning visitor to the channel, you will already know, because it impacted on me earlier this year. And I don't know if I've ever been completely transparent with some of the health issues that I face, but the bottom line is I do have an autoimmune disorder, and usually I can manage that. I've been able to manage it for years. I'm not getting any younger, and the problem with autoimmune conditions is that as we age, the conditions can often escalate or degenerate or whatever, or you get, as in my case, you get symptoms of other health conditions that become co-occurring. So for me, one of the things that happened was that I got a super bad case of the shingles earlier this year. Now, in April actually, for most people that get shingles, the symptoms apparently only last for about 2 weeks. But in my instance, I had symptoms for 4 weeks, despite going on the antivirals and getting into the antivirals fairly quickly. And the position of it was pretty bad, because it was over the side of my face and it started going into my ear. Well, my ear actually, whatever, that was particularly unpleasant. And I had symptoms of that for about 4 weeks. And I also had it going towards my eye. Realistically, I actually still have it. Some of the symptoms, I guess, although they're not noticeable to other people, I can still feel them. So that might be the neuropathy. But I also had it going in my mouth and to my gums. The interesting thing with shingles, if you've never had it, is it only affects one side of your body. So for me, being on my face, it was only on one side of my mouth, one ear, one eye, that kind of thing. So look, suffice to say, it took me about 4 weeks to actually get through those symptoms, and the pain was horrendous, actually. Got through that, and then I've been struggling with fatigue. So consequently, I've been sent off to the doctors for further tests to check out what's going on. And what has happened is, it's actually, I suspect, because my autoimmune condition is associated with the liver as well, liver dysfunction, I've actually received, or I've been diagnosed with degeneration of the liver. If you've got a liver problem, you actually know that you become quite fatigued. You start running really low on energy. And so where I thought that was a case of simply recovering from the bout of shingles and feeling low energy, low motivation, and all of that kind of thing, it's actually because my liver is starting to play up. And the other thing with that is because the doctor sent me off for a heap of tests associated with the autoimmune to make sure that I don't have progression with other health issues. It's been identified through blood tests that I actually carry the gene for an inherited liver disease. Anyway, the name of that is too long. It's about 26 letters. I'm not really hung up about it. Look, let's just say that it offers me an explanation as to why I have been struggling to get the content out, why I've been low energy. And so in some ways I feel better. And also we can always deal, as you would know, as you, the listener, some people, well, in fact, a couple of people that I've shared this information with have said, they're like, oh my God, that's so awful. The reality is, look, it's not great. When I was first diagnosed with it, I thought, okay, I had a little bit of a pity party for myself, a bit of a suki lala that, life sucks and that kind of stuff. And then I reached the decision that actually, if I change my lifestyle and make some adaptations and that kind of thing, I might be able to at least prevent progression. And realistically, because I'm quite open-minded, although that I'm into the metaphysical and healing properties and attributes of light and balancing of the chakras and all the rest of it, I like to think that sometimes there can be miraculous cures where the dysfunction and all of that goes away. But at the same time, I try to be grounded and practical with it and recognize that sometimes maybe we do need to have this medical intervention. And this is one of the reasons why I say to people, look, don't disengage from your treating specialists, but incorporate any of the metaphysical information that we have into our lifestyle. So that being said, so my intention over the next 6 weeks or so, up until the new year, is actually to withdraw from prioritizing YouTube content, but to focus on my health and well-being, not so much health, wealth and happiness, but to focus on some of those other priorities as part of my own health and maintenance, and with the view that in the new year, I'll be back on top of everything. I'll be re-energized. I can walk along just walk my days, if you like, with a purpose for health. I intend to be doing a lot of energy work. I've actually started it, trying to rediscipline myself into doing these healthy behaviors, and also the energy work, which is the chakra balancing, the aura cleansing and that kind of thing. And because I have the desire to share information with people still, I also recognize that historically, and it remains the case now, my primary tool for sharing information with people was actually my website. So back in the day when I used to teach people a lot of metaphysical information and give them self-healing techniques and strategies, and this is when I had my Facebook group, or when it was active, and there was thousands of people, and we used to do readings, many readings a day. Back in the day, I probably was doing about 20 a day. And anyway, where I'm going with this is, there was this recurring question that people would give me of, well, how do I ground? How do I purify my aura? What do I do? Etc., etc. And I got really bored. Let's be real. I got really bored with repeating myself. So for me, it was like, okay, if I'm saying to people that their message or the guidance that I'm receiving is that they need to do some energy work and focus on their aura, I would give them links to my website. So my intention actually over the 6 weeks is, while taking the pressure off myself with doing the YouTube content, because it actually can be quite a burden for me, I think. And to put this into perspective, it's because I actually I struggle doing the audios, believe it or not, because I hum and ha, and because I can go down a tangent and that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, I can find doing the audio a little bit cumbersome, and it's just easier for me to put my effort into doing the written stuff. And over the next weeks, while I'm doing this content for the website, because I'm working on the colour therapy page right now, and I'm realising, I could probably actually manage to do a couple of short reels as reference points for people when I complete the pages on the website. So I may do that, but basically, because my focus is going to be on my health and well-being over the next weeks, I'm not going to make any promises about what I might load on the channel and what I won't, because then I get cross at myself for not following through on my promises, because I perceive that to be a lack of integrity. So I don't want to build people into thinking things are going to be done. I think, if you're interested in the content that I offer, simply subscribe and click the button to get notified, so that when I do load content, you will be informed about it. And it'll be a nice surprise, but it won't be expected, because it'll just be if I've got the time available. Now, having said that, I do have an announcement that I'll be making at the end of the video about what my intentions are for 2026. But before we go on to that, I just want to do the regular channel update and share some observations with you that I made actually 10 days ago at least, because I think it might be beneficial for other people. Other people might have an interest in it. Also, just a reminder, I encourage you just to say g'day to me. I love it when people talk to me. And if you've got thoughts and your own opinions, I enjoy differing opinions, or even people that agree with me. It's not essential to all be the same mind. I love it when we just share information as part of growing ourselves. So this basically one-sided discussion, because they always are at this point in time until you respond, is about the colour yellow in the aura. And it was motivated because I saw an advertisement come up on my YouTube. I was watching a video and somebody was saying, if you've got yellow in your aura, you're a narcissist. And I thought, hang about. I find that a little bit concerning for a number of reasons, right? In the first instance, let's be real, nobody is going to have a totally yellow aura, right? And in the second instance, the term narcissism really is so overused these days. Now, because I am a qualified social worker and I've worked in the field of mental health as well, I also understand that the term narcissism is so overused. Okay, lots of people do have narcissistic qualities and tendencies, but for us average Joes, and even me who is trained in social work, there is no way I would turn around and call a person a narcissist, because the narcissistic personality disorder has a lot of different symptoms. And, there are disorders out there where perhaps the personality traits of somebody with this disorder might be more prevalent, but they're not actually narcissist per se. And not only that, I think you have grand narcissists and malignant narcissists and all of that kind of thing. So there's variations to it. So yeah, I find it a little concerning that somebody is going to be on there as an authority saying this person is a narcissist when they're not qualified to make that diagnosis. And if they're talking about people they've never met, well, bottom line is it's going to be inaccurate. I also find it deeply concerning that somebody is going to turn around and say the colour yellow is an indicator of narcissism, because I don't agree with that at all, right? And my concerns are that if people are into colour healing and the benefits of drawing upon colour, if they think that the yellow is a negative colour, they may actually block that themselves through their own perceptions that, if I work with yellow, I'm going to become a narcissist. I'll become this overpowering, controlling person that is X, Y, and Z, which is actually not true. And in fact, if you stopped working with the colour yellow is central to your personal power. If you have been a victim of life, then you need to actually be working with yellow, because that is considered to be the power centre. It's where we get our confidence. So if you're lacking confidence, if you've been betrayed by people, stabbed in the back, victim of a narcissist or workplace bullying and all the rest of it, all of that stuff sucks the yellow out of your system. So we need to reinvigorate that. I would imagine, you can have underactive chakras, you can have overactive chakras. If you've got a really overactive yellow chakra, it's not going to fill your entire aura with yellow anyway. But, it could perhaps result in overbearing and domineering behavior. You might find people turning around and saying to you, you're so domineering, that kind of whingy stuff to you. And at the end of the day, this is a matter of simply getting some balance in your chakras and working on your throat chakra, looking at your personal expression, the way you communicate with people, and also looking at your intention, which is your heart chakra stuff. So everything runs together. And realistically, if I was going to, if I knew a person was a narcissist or they've been diagnosed with it and I was going to take a look at their aura, I would actually probably expect to see a lot of red in it. Red also is a positive colour because it's associated with vitality. But when it is out of balance, or when we haven't done the work on the higher chakras, it can be quite reactive. But, narcissists, as much as anybody else, they are going to have a chakra system that shows colours. Narcissists generally have incredibly low self-esteem, but they hide it behind this overbearing behaviour or even emotional manipulation and things like that. So with the red, I would say probably because it's about power and control over others. It's about survival. So my concept of the narcissist with the red is because red is about your base survival things. And for narcissists, unfortunately, they are oversensitive to criticism, and they can take that as basically a slight against them that may impact on their capacity to financially support themselves. But anyway, I'm digressing here. I just don't want to see people get frightened of working with yellow or the colour yellow being demonised, because it is such an important colour to both the chakra system and the aura. So this slide I've just dedicated to actually giving you some ideas about what yellow in your aura will contribute, okay? I also will have a lot of this content up on my website under the colour and chakras and auras and that kind of thing. But here you can see that, when you've got a well-balanced and healthy yellow chakra, which of course flows into the aura, there will be a level of inner awareness as you work on it, knowing your own strengths and limits. So this is about putting in place healthy relationship boundaries. Don't know if you heard the dog cough then. He's got a little bit overexcited and running around. Also, so we'll just ignore him and carry on. Other attributes for the yellow is having your confidence, rebuilding confidence after you've been victimized, having courage to stand up for what you feel and believe is the truth of a scenario, if you like, and having the strength to endure some of these challenges. It helps to maintain faith, hope, trust in difficult situations. Power, as I say, it is a central power chakra as well. When we talk about power, if it's healthy use of power, it's not powering over the top of other people. It's being able to stand in your power and discern what feels right for you and what doesn't, and when you can actually pull back comfortably without falling apart at the seams. So we also have self-control and impulse control there, and the capacity to direct our will, that's willpower, and the determination to see things through to fruition. Now, I made a reference before to what I would expect with a narcissist is that you would see more red in there, because this is about your base survival instincts, if you like. And, it can be reactive. If you will know yourself. If you've been in a situation and a car's coming straight at you in the middle of the road, most people won't do the fright and stand still and wait for the impact. They'll actually get themselves out the way of danger, because we've got these inherent survival instincts. So the red chakra is about that. The problem when that red chakra can be unhealthy is when people are unable to process threats and what is a real danger as to one that is a danger in their imagination. And I think when you talk about narcissists, because it is a personality disorder and a mental health condition, they perceive danger and threats that are more ego based. So they would be working. There was something I learned many years ago that the people that are base, and that's a bit of a label, many people go through life without progressing to the upper chakras. They're stuck at best on the yellow chakra. But particularly the guys of old, like my generation of men, they didn't want to know about anything spiritual. They were certainly only into the base chakra stuff, and emotional. If you were lucky, they were able to be emotionally articulate and to regulate their emotional responses. And sometimes they would be able to step up to be basically powerful people in their own right in healthy ways. But that's what we call being people having base personality traits. So for me, the way I interpret it is that narcissists are pretty well stuck on their base personality traits. They haven't developed and opened up the higher chakras. When we talk about higher chakras, it doesn't have to be the concepts of, people such as myself, which is, if you like to say, new age and spirituality and that kind of thing. The higher chakras in this context is about the 7 primary chakras, which is opening up your heart, learning to communicate effectively, gently, with love and kindness as part of negotiating problems, and being prepared and willing to see the truth of a situation, which is to see the different perspectives around a scenario, which is people are not all bad. Even if people have done what we call bad things, inherently they still carry a divine spark within them. And my life path, now I'm going down a tangent here, but in one of my jobs, I had to interact with biker gangs. And, we all have known of, if we haven't seen or known people specifically, we've all heard horrible stories of criminal elements and behaviour, organised crime, that kind of thing. And we tend to judge these people very harshly. Well, what I kind of found is that while I don't endorse the behaviours, that some of these people that had these really, you may as well say unattractive traits, actually also, when you had a conversation with them, they could be very interesting. There was always another side to them that they didn't necessarily show to other people. And I've just gone off on this tangent here. So I'm just saying, look, there's good within everybody. And I believe this is about choices. We make life decisions. And if we've chosen a wrong path, we can always choose again and live well and make healthy choices. But going back to this slide, the reality is that, yes, red can have these aggressive and violent traits associated with it, but at the same time, it's a very essential colour for our health and well-being because, look at it. To be honest, it's about vitality, it's about survival, it's about protection, it's about keeping a roof over our head, keeping us safe. It's about helping us to get from where we need to go. And it's also about, we like to think that money doesn't matter, but we don't live in a world where money doesn't count. We all need to have money to be able to survive. And we all need, in this day and age, money to live healthily because we have to buy healthy food or we have to be able to grow it, all of that kind of stuff. And of course, the red chakra is largely about reproduction of the species. If we're talking about reproduction as a human race, it's kind of orange chakra and red chakra. But anyway, I wanted to just put the focus on here that even if somebody is scared of red, I guess, to let it go. I've known lots of actual energy workers that are quite blocked on the red chakra because I think they have a fear of having it developed and because they've got issues around money, and all that does is perpetuate cycles of feeling the victim of the universe, if not the victim of people, feeling victimized by the universe and wondering why they're stuck, because people become stagnant when they've got these blocks. So in regard to this particular slide, it goes back to the previous yarning video as well, where I had been asked on a video one of the crystal videos, what a person can do to actually raise their capacity to feel energy. And I referred to this book. It seemed to come fairly naturally to me, was what I mentioned in the previous video. But the other thing is, I remember that there were activities I did to accelerate it. And at that time, I was drawn to basically these two authors that we've got here, Sanaya Roman and Shakti Gawain. So just to be clear, I don't get paid for promoting these. I'm just sharing some information with you. But what happened in the process of me doing this response, I tried to find the images to be able to say to the person, well, these were the books that I managed to get. Well, the reality is that I seem to have lost them out of my collection, so I did some repurchasing, if you like, and I've had a number of books come through, Shakti Gawain ones. I've ordered a few of them, and I ordered the Sanaya Roman one, and so I've been revisiting those, which is actually quite timely given the current health conditions that I've got. And so in my intentions for the next 6 weeks, it's actually basically to start doing a lot of the energy work, the light work, working with these meditations, if you like, visualizations. If people are interested, Shakti Gawain actually, back in the day when I got her stuff, I actually got, were they CDs? CDs, back in the days when we had CDs. She had audio books, and I did see that they're online. You can still do them that way. But what happened for me was I absolutely loved them. But somewhere, one of my teachers said to me that when you're doing these kind of creative visualizations, it's better to actually listen to them if they're recorded in your own voice, because it's our own voice that does that mind chatter. So when we're trying to re-script the mind chatter, we're better to do recordings in our own voice and play them. So what I did was I took her suggestions, if you like, created my own recordings, and then in the evenings, I used to meditate at least an hour every night while I did these guided visualizations. Now, I'm not making any connections here. I'm just saying this is what happened for me. I'm not going to make any great claims, but I also, when I say but, okay, my experience included around about the time I was working with these energy exercises and really trying to raise my light vibration and connect with my higher self, I was also actually experiencing a cancer scare. I had been to the doctors, and it took me about 6 weeks to actually get the results. This is obviously many years ago when I was living in a remote area. I had to wait for the specialist. I think it was about 6 weeks before I actually was able to get the tests done. And then, of course, once you've got the test done, you've got a little bit of extra waiting there. Anyway, suffice to say that they came up clear, well, clearish, whatever. I had to be monitored for a little while, but all things end well. Didn't have cancer. So what I've decided to do is, up until the new year at least, to start these changes in my life and start doing these energy exercises again. Just to clarify, though, what I had forgotten, because I've actually bought the Sanaya Roman spiritual growth book a number of times and lent it out to people and lost it in my journey of life, shall we say, where it hasn't come back. Such is life. I'm not going to carry on about it. But what I found when I ordered the book was I had forgotten that this business of spiritual growth by Sanaya Roman, the important part to pay attention to is actually this cover I'm looking at is Being Your Higher Self. It's a series is where I'm going. So there's 4 books associated with her series. And what I inadvertently did was buy book 3. That's fine. It's helpful to me anyway. But what I was actually hoping to do was buy number 1. So just a tip there, if you're going to start doing this stuff and you want to buy any of Sanaya's stuff, then this spiritual growth is a series of 4 books. And I would start with 1 and go through to 4 if I was you. So as far as other content or information for you guys is that if you're living in the local area of Perth, Mount Lawley, if you're not aware, I do have a tarot tea and crystal night the second Wednesday of every month, and I promote it on Eventbrite. And basically we had the November one. I've booked the December one, so second Wednesday of every month. That one is booked, and so you can actually get a ticket now. Tickets are free, and the reason I do the ticketing aspect is because it helps me to basically work within the seating numbers and limitations. Last one was actually a very small one, but I enjoyed it because there was only 6 of us, and it meant that I could actually do a few tarot readings myself, which I like doing. It helps me to keep my hand in. So no, it was more of a social gathering and a chit chat and playing with cards in general. And when we get together like that, we just share a bit of information. So where I'm going with this is, look, if you don't want to go onto Eventbrite and book a ticket, you can actually contact me through my website, LarinasLabyrinth.com. I've got a contact form on there, and if you want me to hold a seat for you, or if you want to contact me, let me know and I'll create a space for you. The other thing with that is because I'm struggling with getting the crystals in and out of my boot of my car, I'd actually prefer if people let me know if there's specific crystals that they want me to take along for the night, and I'll make sure that I bring them along. Otherwise, if you want to know what else I've got, because I've got a lot of product here and I want to sort it out and start selling it, actually, it's just taking up a lot of space. And one of the areas that I've been tardy in is that I haven't been selling the product, I've just been buying. Because I haven't had the energy to devote to that. So over the next weeks, I will be looking at selling the crystals as well and at least getting the website sorted for that too. So speaking of the website, I've already realised when I'm not working on the YouTube content, it does take me a bit of energy to actually keep doing the work on the website, because I like to be creative and create my own graphics and that kind of thing, but progress is being made. The chakra content is actually now complete. So when we talk about the chakra stuff, I've also got information on the Earth Star, the Kundalini, the Bindu, and the Celestial, or some people call it the Rainbow Chakra. All of that content is now up. The information is public. It has been put to me that the page is very wordy, and I'm aware of that. So one of the things I've got to address is the hosting or service provider that I've got doesn't allow me a lot of options, so I probably will have to transfer it across to make it more user friendly. But if you want to take a look, I'm open to feedback as to what changes you think I might need to make it easier for you guys when you go on there and have a look. But yes, chakra content is now complete, as is the aura content. Oh, I should mention there's a site map as well if you just want to jump to the area of interest on the website. Now, I've been rabbiting on for a while over the last yarnings that after I finished the chakra content, I wanted to look at stuff like doing the pages on spiritual hygiene, sacred breathing, all of this kind of stuff, and the centering and grounding. However, changing priorities are a fact of life, and what I found is I'm now working actually on the colour content, and I hope to get that done over the next couple of days. But you can also check yourself. If there's content that you're particularly interested in seeing, just go and visit the website regularly, because I do update regularly, even if the pages are under construction. A lot of that is actually about saving the content too. So yeah, you're welcome to go and check it out, but at the moment I'm working on the power of colour content. So as far as the Crystal Magic playlist goes, yeah, look, there hasn't actually been much happening, obviously, but I wanted to mention the fact that, yes, I have continued to buy crystals, and so there have been some experiences that I've had. I've got some lovely pink opal that has arrived, some tumbled stuff. I've got some blue aragonite that is unpolished, it's in the rough. That was very interesting. And I bought some turquoise. Now, the turquoise is interesting because it's not turquoise is where I'm going, but I got it for such a cheap price. I would have been surprised if it was genuine. But because I'm into colour healing as well, I've gone back to the supplier and said, look, you need to be clear if you're going to sell me something that it is actually what you're labelling it as, because if I try and sell it over here in Australia as turquoise when it's clearly not, when I've got it in my hand, then I'm in breach of consumer laws. So I went back and I questioned them and I said, look, it's not turquoise. I said, but my question is, what is it? Is it created turquoise? Is it dyed howlite? And they came back and they said it was dyed howlite. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's not, and my intention is that I'm actually going to smash up a tumble so that I can have a look at the insides of it. I've just got to get the hammer out and take a look. But anyway, what I want to make the point of is one of the sources of frustration for you and me who's just buying for personal use, not necessarily buying for wholesale purposes, is when people misname their product or when the seller actually doesn't know what they're talking about. And besides the fact that for me, if I'm doing on-selling, it can be a very, not just an ethical compromise, it can be a very big legal compromise. It's, I've lost my train of thought. Hang on while I pause and think about it. I remember what it was, the point I was making. Before I started doing the wholesale buying again, I was actually quite critical and judgmental about people that mislabeled their product as, I thought they were a bit roguish, to be honest, and absolute thieves. But as time goes by, I realised, actually they're not. People are human. Some probably are. But the ones that I'm interacting with, they're genuine mistakes and misunderstandings. And I've explained this to the supplier of the turquoise, and they've actually come up with another solution, which I'm happy to buy because it is a genuine article. And even now, sometimes when I'm buying, I forget to ask the source of the product. And knowing the source is a really good question to ask, because if they don't know where that source was or where that product was sourced from, that means when they've bought it, it hasn't come with a certificate of authenticity or whatever. So, for example, where I'm going with this is the turquoise that I'm going to order now, which is real turquoise, not really good quality, I might add, but certainly perfectly okay, is from Peru. So it's got a lot of brown in it. And when they showed it to me, I initially knee-jerked back, thinking that's a pretty yucky looking piece of turquoise. Turquoise, I've got to say, has become extremely expensive, especially if it's a really nice, good looking turquoise. But anyway, I knee-jerked to it, and then I thought, even turquoise with a bit of brown in it is probably not a bad option these days for people that are looking for turquoise. So I'll go back and I'll ask the supplier, where did they get it from? So yeah, Peru this stuff is from. Anyway, I'll be doing an order for that, and I've just deviated from the fact that not everybody that makes mistakes is making them deliberately. So the last videos to be loaded on the Crystal Magic playlist giving you some information was actually the Staurolite video. The thumbnail for the one that I've got on the YouTube channel has been changed because I actually believe, as much as this beautiful cross is so pretty actually, and Staurolite is called a fairy cross, I don't think that's real. Okay, it's too perfect. And when you look at the images that I've got of Staurolite, I knew when I put this thumbnail up that it didn't look anything like the piece that I had, but I thought it's just so pretty. But I'm pretty sure it's fake, okay? So I have changed the image on the thumbnail on YouTube. It looks a bit like a fairy cake, to be honest. Anyway, that one's up. I've also loaded the Crocoite video. That one's been put up as well, and I hope you enjoy it. I don't really think many of us will be able to afford to buy Crocoite because it is such a rare crystal. And it's only found in Tasmania in Australia, I think. I think there might be a source, if I'm digging my memory banks now from when I did the recording. I think there might be a source in Russia as well, which I wasn't aware of until I did the video. I thought it was only found in Tasmania, Australia. But anyway, that video's been put up as well, and I just love the colour of that. Certainly if you're looking to balance your orange chakra. So I have created a Scolecite video, but I've not loaded it. I've done the transcript, I've done everything. I just need to do the audio recording of it. And this one I can't promise you as to when it's going to go up. The same with the Herderite video. I've done the transcript of that as well, and I've got it all ready. I just need to record the audio. But this is one of the things that's been impacted by my fatigue, shall we say, and lack of vitality over the last few weeks. So if I can, maybe I'll load these over the next 6 weeks, but I'm not going to be putting a lot of attention onto creating crystal videos up until the new year. In the new year, all things being well, there will be a big announcement made with some of the things that I'm attempting to manifest. I'm not talking about them now. I'm not going to give you any clues or or hints or anything like that, because this is a manifestation. And of course, when we're attempting to manifest, the idea is that you keep it close to your chest and you just work energetically on energizing that image and the vision to get it through to fruition. So I've got something there that's in the pipes. In fact, I've got a couple there that are my priorities. And so, yeah, they should be, I anticipate, the first week of January, but who knows, maybe it might be the middle of January. But I will let you know. So if you want to be informed, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and click to be notified. So, my friends, it's ended up being a lot longer video than I expected it to be. But I will say, look, thank you for being part of my journey, whether you're new, whether you're returning. I'm going to take some time out, as I mentioned, and I really look forward to catching up with you in the not too distant future. And as always, I thank you for being part of my journey. Take care. Have a blessed day. Love you. Leave you. See you soon. Bye bye for now.